Hello all and welcome back to another wonderful Ponytown video. Today I am here showing you some things that once you see them, you can never unsee them and it will bother you for the rest of your days. So starting off at number one, we have of course the marketplace area. They have these lovely little banners and things like that on the entrance of things, and they're all normal and jazz, except when you come up here. That's right, when you come up here, they're a little bit off. Now, I'm going to give you a moment to pause to kind of see what might be off about this, but pause is over. That's right, the pause is over. Guess what? This is very much off. This is like stretching over onto this, and this is hidden behind it. But again, if we go back to the one that is supposedly normal, or you could call the normal one, or maybe the other one is not normal, this one's more perfectly aligned, like it's more spaced out evenly or something like that, because none of them are stretching over the orb, none of them are half behind the orb. It's all the same. So again, there's that one, and if we come up here, we can see this one right up here. As you can see, this one's stretching over it, and this one's half behind it. So that's number one on the list, but for number two, we're gonna have to go to the party island to show you something else. So here we are on the party island, and this one has to do with firefly lanterns, or really most things that have like a little firefly or anything similar to that inside of it. Basically, if you ever hit space to change the color of something, it will actually make the fireflies inside the thing move every single time you do it. Again, same thing with the large firefly lantern, and it doesn't have to be one of these. For example, if I just do like this and I go over to, let's say, keep an eye on the firefly lanterns, and again, if we change the color of this bed, it will also make these firefly lanterns and things like that bounce around a little bit. Once you see this, you can't unsee this unless you're just not paying attention to the build menu or whatever like that. But it's very interesting that whenever you change the color by pressing space or whatever else, it'll make this thing happen where it just makes the things juggle around in there. It's kind of fun to kind of just watch them move around in there. Very interesting, at least. But there's another thing, and since I'm already here on the island, I may as well show you all. So if you ever seen these small lanterns around the island, you may have noticed this, or you may not have noticed this, but they all are in sync. All of them are in sync. Look at them. They're all in sync. All perfectly in sync. You just stack a bunch on here, and it's all within sync. You can't even tell that there's multiple there other than because of the shadow. For whatever reason, all of the lanterns are like this, but if I were to come over here and grab, let's say, a torch, the torches aren't like this. So if I perfectly stack them like that, you can see how they're not in sync, or if I just put a few next to each other, you can see how they very quickly aren't in sync anymore. I don't know why the torches do this. Maybe it's because you can boop them and make them go out or whatever like that, except, I mean, these, you can't really do that because they're meant to always stay on. But yeah, it's very odd that these don't stay in sync, but the lanterns do. No matter how many you place or whatever you do, they're always going to be in sync with each other. And it's very interesting. Once you see this, you can't unsee this. You're going to see them on the island or whatever like that, and you're going to be passing by one, and you're like, something's off about these lanterns, and I don't know what's off about them. Maybe it's also because they're like lanterns, but you can't see through them. Maybe that's another thing. I don't know. But the fact that they're all in sync makes it feel a little bit weird and off to me. And again, while I'm here, I may as well talk about the brick. Hey, do you notice anything weird about the brick here? Anything weird at all about the brick tiles? Anything whatsoever? Well, it's got a bunch of lowercase r's in it. Look at this. Let's look at this little lowercase r here. It's just a lowercase r. It's perfectly a lowercase r. Kind of slanted a little bit, but it looks like a lowercase r to me. If you turn your head a little, just slightly, and this just makes it look like there's just a bunch of r's in the bricks. You can see how R, there's just a bunch of R's all over the place, and I can't unsee that now. I think it's supposed to be like a crack in the bricks or something like that, but it just looks too much like an R to me, and it ends up messing up the illusion of a crack for me specifically. But it's something that I can't unsee once I've seen it. So yeah, there you go. There's another one. But there's even more, so let's go ahead and leave the party island and go back to the main island, because there's a few more things we gotta show you that we can only show you here on the main island. So pay close attention to these bunnies, because as you'll see, this one is facing left, and its right ear is the one that is folded over. But as soon as it turns around, as it just did there, it's now the left ear that is slanted or bent or whatever you want to say. It's something that I noticed when looking at the bunnies, and it kind of blew my mind a little bit. Why does it do that? Why does its ear little flop thing change sides whenever it turns around. Who knows? But it's just there. It's just like that. And it's another little interesting thing about the bunnies, and something that once you see, you really cannot unsee it. Speaking of which, here's a little bonus one for you that I just now noticed, and it's just bothering the absolute shit out of me right now. You see these orange flowers, these orange ones, the red ones are like this too, and so are these yellow ones. But you see how there's just that little bit of green there? It's almost the exact same green as the grass behind it, so it just kind of looks like a hole. Just kind of looks like a hole that's in the flower, and I can't unsee that now. And now you have to see that too. Even though that wasn't part of the original list, you just have to see it now. So let's move on to the next thing. Aha. Here we are at the signpost. This is a signpost that you can find at the top of the map, by the way, and it has this thing right here, which is pointing towards the mines. How to get to the mines, go that way. This, to me, looks way too much like a jar. This just looks like a jar, maybe even a blood jar, who knows? But it looks like a jar, it doesn't look like mines to me. That's another thing, once you see that, you can't unsee it. I'm sorry, that's just a jar for you forever. So, yeah, have fun never seeing that as anything other than a jar now. Maybe it's a reference to something, who knows? But it looks like a jar to me. And finally on this list, have you ever noticed how the Ponytown language kind of looks like Braille? Like, look at this little sign here. Obviously, it's got the pony face in there, so you can ignore that. Everyone knows about the pony face. That's a very obvious thing, and it's intentional. But looking at this, like, it kind of feels like Braille to someone that doesn't ever see Braille often. And same thing with, you know, the back of benches, which honestly, I kind of totally forgot had any kind of quote-unquote text on the back of it. It again kind of looks a little bit like Braille for some reason. A lot of things like that in Ponytown look like that, and I'm not sure why. But a little bonus one for you in case you didn't like that one. This looks like a pause sign. This just right here in the middle of the toy stash sign, just it looks like it's a little pause symbol. So what am I pausing? I don't know. Maybe I'm pausing this video right now because it's over. So I hope you enjoyed these tiny little things that once you notice them, you can't unsee them. The flower one is definitely bothering the absolute heck out of me right now, and that's probably gonna bother me for the rest of my life. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one especially. But for now, that's gonna do it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all of those wonderful things like that. Because when you do those wonderful things like that, not only do you get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.